Do you break the law? Of course you have. There are so many laws, it's probably difficult not to. If asked, many drivers will cite breaking the speed while driving, yet they know that speeding costs lives. So why do people do it? Mainly because we feel like it's acceptable and even expected. Nobody can deny the fact that going fast in cars is fun, but on the other hand, who hasn't experienced the sadness of losing a loved one due to fast driving, or even the sadness of hearing such stories? I want to introduce you to 22-year-old Angel Romero, who hit and killed Nicolette Baca, a young female, in a fatal crash on I-25. Police authorities say Angel was going more than 100 miles per hour when he slammed head-on into 21-year-old Nicolette Baca. According to KRQE News 13, Romero had a habit of driving fast. In their investigation, they found 5 speeding tickets within a year's time. In this speech, we will examine the purpose for driving at speed while examining the problems, the causes, and solutions to speeding. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, a crash is speeding related if a driver was charged with a speeding related offense, or if a police officer indicates racing or driving too fast conditions, or the driver has exceeded the posted speed limit which contributed to the crash. There are so many consequences behind speeding in your vehicle, some of which can cause injuries not only to yourself, but to other motorists and pedestrians. According to Earl M. Sweeney, Assistant Commissioner of New Hampshire Department of Safety, worldwide, speeding is a contributing factor in about 31% of all fatal crashes, which equates to 14,000 lives per year lost in the United States alone. Not only can speeding cost your life or another, it can also cost you a lot of money. The National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration says crashes where speed is an issue cost society more than $40 billion annually. In the U.S., it can cost society more than $76,000 per minute for every minute you gain by speeding. A speeding ticket can also cost you anywhere from $150 to $1,000. That's enough to pay for food, clothes, and college expenses. But if speeding becomes a routine to you and leads to the increase of speeding tickets on your record, this can equate to points that go on your license, which you can ultimately get suspended. Lastly, the wear and tear on your vehicle can cause more money by speeding. Just think, if you're accelerating extremely fast above the speed and hit traffic, or a cop off to the side and you have to slow your vehicle down, this can cause wear and tear on your tires, which will cause you to have to replace them earlier, and your brakes can go out if faulty, which can cause an accident. And most importantly, your transmission and engine have to work harder depending on the increase or decrease in your speeds. And you also burn more gas, which cause you to spend more money. We've examined the problems of speeding, so let's turn our attention to the cause. Think back to a time when you were driving on the road and a super speeder comes close to your bumper, making you think you were slowing up traffic. It's likely you increased your speed or you got into another lane. This subconscious behavior stems from the fact that most people find speeding acceptable or even expected. This idea can cause some people to increase speeding because of what others think or how others feel you should drive. In this day and time, everybody is running around, going to school, going to work, handling business, picking up children from daycare, and etc. Which brings me to the second cause of speeding, which results because people feel like they're rushing all the time or they leave the house late. Either way, rushing is not a reason to speed. Lastly, speeding occurs because of driving under the influence. Statistics show that drivers under the influence speed way more often. In 2013, the CDC reported that 31% of all traffic fatalities in the U.S., or 10,076 deaths, were the result of drunk drivers. 200 of those people were children under the age of 14 years old. Another form of impaired driving that often leads to accidents or speeding is the use of marijuana. Any of these substances should be prevented behind the wheel, seeing as this can promote more risky behaviors, such as speeding. Now that we know some of the causes of speeding, let's focus our attention on how we're going to solve that problem. We can't solve the problem of speeding overnight, but by looking into some of the causes of speeding, we can begin to make solutions and even changes. Even though driving under the influence is illegal, to a certain extent, people still do it. So let's encourage our friends, our families, and even strangers to not drive under the influence. And this will help prevent accidents caused by speeding. Also, there's a need for appropriate speed limits, because if the speed is set too low, people will disregard the speed and they will intend to drive faster. The need for improving the effectiveness of speed-related safety issues will improve society's perception of speeding. by informing drivers of the risk to not only themselves but to others. Speeding needs to be considered as socially unacceptable as intoxicated driving. And lastly, and most importantly, what we all can do is just leave the house earlier and plan ahead. There is no law that says that we can't show up somewhere early. This is beneficial because we won't need to feel rushed, or we won't have, and if we do, we could just leave earlier, which will lower the anxiety we feel while we're driving. In closing, I would like to pose the question to you all again. Do you break the law? Of course you have, and you probably will, being that there are so many laws. But now speeding doesn't have to be one of them. The World Health Organization says an increase in the average speed is directly related both to the likelihood of a crash occurring and the severity of the consequences of the crash. So next time when you think about speeding, I want you to remember Nicolette Baca, who was a victim, who lost her young life at the hands of a speeder. And in the end, any reason that a driver gives for speeding will never be worth the potential cost.